Okay, perfect. We are recording now. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for this really exciting unveiling of a brand new community in Panama, in the tropical highlands close to Boquete and David. There has been a tremendous amount of interest for property in this location specifically because we have the great climate, there's great infrastructure there. So we're really excited to talk to you today about the opportunities available. And for those of you who have not yet been to Panama, we are going to dig a little bit deeper into Panama so you can understand why it's such a popular country, and then we'll go into the specific opportunities. Do know we've allocated about 10, 15 minutes at the end for your questions. So as you have questions pop up, feel free to type those into the Q&A section of the control panel where it is you just let us know that you are calling in from, and we'll get those answered for you at the end. So again, welcome everybody. We are really excited to have you here. My name is Rachel Jensen. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Eci Development. I live in Belize currently. I'm a resident of Panama, have been since 2016. It's a place that I really consider my second or third home. I feel very comfortable there, and it's just a really great, there's a great lifestyle, there's a great culture, really incredible people, and it's a place that I've personally felt very comfortable going over the years. So really excited to talk to you about Panama and how it can perhaps be a place that you also decide to call home. With us today, we also have Ali Rodriguez. Ali, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. Like you, I am extremely excited to be on this presentation with the ECI team here and all of our wonderful people that have registered and are joining us today. I am Ellie Rodriguez, the International Referral Network Director for ECI Development, currently living in Belize, but work with lots of different partners across the globe, including Panama. So I'm excited to be on this presentation with you all today and hope that you fall in love with Panama like the rest of us have.
Awesome. And also with us today, we have Betsy Rosenlund. Betsy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Betsy Rosenlund. I am a property consultant with ECI Development. Like Rachel and Ali, I live in Belize full time, but I am also a permanent resident of Panama. So try to get down there a couple times every year. I absolutely love Panama. It really has quite a lot to offer, which you'll hear later on in our presentation, and look forward to chatting with you all more about Panama.
Fantastic. Now, before we jump to the next slide, I do see we have another person who joined us, Mike Cobb. I don't know if you are prepared to say anything, but I see that you are online here. So Mike is our CEO of ECI Development. And for those of you who aren't familiar with who we are as an organization, ECI is a regional real estate development company. We're located in Belize, which is why some of us are here right now. We're in Panama, obviously, Costa Rica, and also Nicaragua, currently looking at future acquisitions in Mexico and Argentina or Chile. And so I would like, Mike, for you to say a couple of words too about ECI Development, why it is you started the company, and what really drew you to Panama and to look at property there in the Boquete area.
Sure, Rachel, thank you. It says I'm unable to start my video, but I hope you all can hear me. So anyway, give me a thumbs up, Rachel.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Hey, well, anyway, yeah, you know, Panama is an incredible country. I started going to Panama back in the mid 1990s, right after my very first trip to Belize. And what I saw really amazed me. Panama City was a much smaller city then. It did not have the number of skyscrapers it has today. It was really up and coming, and it was very obvious to me that Panama had a lot of attributes that were very, very important in the marketplace. One, obviously, the Panama Canal is huge. The Panama Canal, I call it Panama's ATM machine. Every day, 50, $75 million just comes into the country. I think it's about $4.5 billion a year are generated in free cash flow for the country of Panama, a country with a population of about 4 million people. So it's an incredibly lucrative enterprise for the country. And because it has this just sustained cash flow, lots of other things are possible. And what we've seen over the last 25, 30 years since I first started going there is this investment. They've taken the money that they've received from the canal mostly, but from other means as well. They've invested it in things like airport expansions, subway systems, bridges, highways, railroad systems. They've taken this incredible gift of cash flow and they've reinvested it in the things that really matter to a country long term. When you build highways and bridges and airport expansions and subways, you're really investing for decades, if not centuries, in the well-being of a country. And Panama has done this. It's just incredible. And over the last 25 years, that Panama City has just gone from a beautiful city to an incredible mega city now. The number of skyscrapers, the number of businesses that have opened up there in the financial services sector, the insurance sector, the logistics. Panama is an incredible logistics hub. So just for so many reasons, Panama is an exciting country. It also has, because it's got the canal, a vital strategic world interest, not just a U.S. interest. Of course, it's a U.S. interest, but it's a strategic world interest. Everybody in the world wants this commerce to continue. And so you've got this economic and political stability that's truly seen probably nowhere else in the region. So just for so many reasons, Panama is a great country. We're very, very excited to now have a project that's off the water. I know you're going to talk about that this evening. One of the things that we as a company have focused on is how do we build product for North American consumers, mostly, although we do end up with a lot of locals as owners in our communities too, which is very exciting. But this idea of how do we serve people where they want to live? And we have 4 wonderful projects at the beach, 2 on the Caribbean side, Belize and Costa Rica, 2 on the Pacific side, Nicaragua and our Los Islotes in Panama. But now we actually have a property that's off the water, in the mountains, in the highlands, in this springtime, all the time climate. And that is a very, very popular climate. And so for so many reasons, Panama is exciting. And this particular community that we're launching now, Freedom Village, is also very, very exciting. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it back to you, Rachel, and your team. But I'm excited to listen in on the webinar as well. You caught me peeking in. I didn't expect to be called on tonight. But anyway, that's fine. I just wanted to peek in, listen in. I couldn't believe the number of folks, over 700 people registered. It might have been higher than that, towards the end of the day. So just an incredible interest in Panama, in Freedom Village, and what we're doing. So back to you. Thanks for sneaking me in here. That was unexpected. So
of course. Well, thank you for joining us today. All right, Betsy, why don't you start us off? Why Panama?
Yeah, so like Mike was just saying, there are so many great reasons why people are choosing Panama. One of the first and, probably maybe one of the most important is that it's easy to get there from almost anywhere in the world. There are direct flights from the United States, from Canada, from Europe, from other parts of Central and South America. It's definitely a hub for the region, making it very easy to get back home if you need to get back home and visit family, friends, or if you want to hop around and see other parts of Latin America. Panama also offers very attractive residency opportunities with a great number of benefits, quite a number of different residency options. I think we're going to chat about at least one of those later tonight. And then also, as Mike was saying, has one of the strongest economies in the region, which is very important if you're looking to invest in another country. Panama also is a very rich country, rich in cultures. There's a number of different ethnic communities. There's the local Gunayala, which is the native population, as well as North American, European, African influences, which really make it a very diverse country. Panama also offers a lot of cultural activities, music, art, sports, food. So you can go to different festivals throughout the year, which is really fun. If you're going to be relocating to Panama, you want to make sure you have things to do that really get you involved in the culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I do want to mention one point here is that at the bottom of the screen, you see it says webinar at ecidevelopment.com. Use that email address if you have anything that we mentioned as free resources that you would like to get a copy of, because the one thing I do want to mention is we're not going to really go too deeply into the whys of Panama. We did an entire Why Panama 101 webinar. It's about an hour long. It covers each of these different topics that Betsy's just touching upon. So if you're just new to Panama and you want to learn a little bit more about the country, send us an email there to webinar@ecidevelopment.com, and we'll send over that Panama 101 presentation. It's an incredible one that really covers a lot more of these reasons in greater depth. But you're exactly right there, Betsy, is the culture within Panama is just something that's really unique. And because there is such an international presence there in the country, Panama City tends to have the most amount of international culture and traditions, just because there's a lot of international business that's done there. But as you continue into little villages, you continue to see more of the indigenous communities. And it really is quite heartwarming and neat to see that if you are looking to relocate, you have the ability to experience these different cultures. And then within Panama, there are a lot of different hotspots there. You'll see that we have a handful of them highlighted here. The first one that I am going to mention is that's Gran Highlands. And Gran Highlands is the property that we're going to be talking about specifically today. It's in between C, which is Boquete, and then G, which is the David Airport, David, which is one of the other big cities out there. And so you can see it's in really great proximity. It's in great location to both of those towns, about 30 minutes from each. So you're able to get to and from them quite easily. And then what's neat to mention is that if you look at letter F, that's where Panama City is. So when you fly into the country, you can either fly into Panama City, and then there are some direct flights that go to David. But if you end up in Panama City, you can take a plane over to David. It takes about 45 minutes to get there. And David is actually G right over here. And then in 30 minutes, be up at the property in a town called Dolega. Or you can keep going 30 more minutes and then be in C, Boquete. So really neat for you to realize the geography of the country. And something else that I do want to mention is the location of D. Obviously, the Panama Canal is an incredible ATM machine, as Mike mentioned, for the country. And what you'll be able to see here is that it is easy enough for you to go to. And then we have B. I want to mention B. Some of you have followed us and heard about us for various reasons, various investment opportunities that we have. One of the opportunities that we have is the teak farms. And the teak farms are an incredible way to get involved in agricultural investments if you're looking for a leg into the timber market, or you're looking for something that's alternative. Maybe you're not looking for real estate per se, you're not looking for a home or condominium, but you do want land, and maybe you're looking for an inexpensive way to obtain residency. The teak is a great option for that. I'm going to just highlight a couple more places here because I think it is important for you to know some of these hot spots in Panama, especially if the country is fairly new for you. E, if we go down here to the Azuero Peninsula, I think you can all see my cursor, but at E, that's Los Islotes. This is a beachfront community. For those who are looking for property that's on the water, as Mike mentioned, that's not Gran Highlands. Gran Highlands is more mountains and whatnot, but if you are looking for something that is beachfront, then you will be able to get that there at the Gran Highlands. We covered Panama City. We also covered David. And then Boca Del Toro, I'm going to just jump up here to the northern part of the country where it says H. H is a really neat place. It's located on the Caribbean. It's close to Costa Rica. Boca Del Toro is the name. It tends to be a little bit warmer and more humid in this location, just simply because of the geography, but it is a great place to go and explore the Caribbean if you're looking to do that. And then I do want to also mention I'm going to just switch slides here. Which is on the northern part of the country, but more east. That is one of the places that Betsy and I have been trying to go for the past few years, but it seems like there's always something that holds us back. But San Blas, this is really cool. It's a Guna Yala. It's an indigenous community. It's called a comarca. So essentially the Guna Yalas are the ones who are taking care of it. It's their land. And so it's a great place to go to if you're looking for a quick getaway from Panama City. And there are just a lot of other really neat places here for you to explore. But if we continue more onto the west side, closer to where we have the Grand Highlands, you'll see that there's volcanoes out there. There's also Cherokee, which is a beautiful area where you'll find waterfalls and natural paths. And the Boquete area, the western side of the country, really is ideal for those more adventurous spirits, the people who enjoy being outside. There are a lot of hiking trails and whitewater rafting, which is neat. And for those of you who are hikers or enjoy the scenery, you're able to hike up Volcán Baru, letter N over here. And if you leave early enough in the morning, I think it's about 2 or 3 in the morning, you can hike up to the top of the volcano and you can see the sunrise. I mean, it just truly is an incredible experience. So this area, this part of the country, like I said, is really geared towards more of the natural or the nature lovers, the people who enjoy being outside. And because this area is more of the tropical highlands, you have a more moderate temperature. You have the mid 60s during the evening and then mid 70s during the daytime. So it tends to be more of a cooler climate compared to definitely Boca Del Toro, where you get that humidity factor. So we're going to just jump right into the Gran Highlands property. And we're going to show you pictures throughout the presentation here, but it really is a stunning mountainous community. When you're standing at the top of the property line and you just look around 270-degree views, you have mountain views all around you. There's lush greenery, jungle landscape within the property. We have creeks and rivers and a lake and orchards already on site. And so if you're somebody who really enjoys nature and being in an environment like this, then the Gran Highlands may be the place for you. And what I personally like about this property is the location. Like I mentioned in the map earlier, it's easy enough to get to Boquete. It's easy enough to get to David. So if you need to fly somewhere, you can be at David in 30 minutes, but you can also be at Boquete in 30 minutes. So it's right there in between and it has access to both. And if you are not familiar with Boquete, I'd recommend doing a little bit of research on it. We also have a Panama handbook that covers the area in greater depth. But Boquete is a really stunning location. It's well known in the expat communities and also in the tourism industry because it is close to the mountains and the hikings and the whitewater rafting that we talked about. Infrastructure is already there. There's like a natural food store, for example. So I know that that's something that's important to people is if you're planning to relocate, having access to the natural produce and whatnot really is critical. So you're close enough to be at in the cities in a couple of minutes. Or you're far enough away where it just feels like you're in your own little world. All right, Ali, fill us in a little bit more about why people are deciding to own in Freedom Village.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that you have all gotten a little bit of a taste of what Panama and why Panama, so I want you to kind of step into the shoes of a person that would be living at Freedom Village. This is somebody that is eco-conscious. They want to live off the land. They want to grow their own fruits or vegetables. They are living with like-minded folks that want the same things. They want to live this stress-free lifestyle. They want to be free from mortgages and utility bills, and they are able to enjoy their surroundings in a more natural setting. Like Rachel mentioned, there is a very moderate climate in Panama, especially in the highlands there off the coast. So you're experiencing that springtime year-round, mid-70s and mid-60s. And then, of course, if you're looking at this as an investment opportunity, you are able to put your home into the rental program where you can then offer this opportunity to other folks that would want to come and visit and experience Panama in the highlands and just be able to enjoy, like Rachel mentioned, the orchard and the rivers and the jungle setting there a little more freely. And so with Freedom Village, there are some incredible features that will be incorporated into this community. There's going to be an artisan market, so food markets, woodworking shops, different kinds of studios where these different artisans can come in and build their businesses and offer their services and their products to people that would enjoy them. Of course, and then a yoga palapa that will be something spectacular up in the highlands, great climate again. Restaurants, pools, the orchard, like I mentioned, and then of course the lakes and rivers that are going to be running through the property.
Yeah, exactly. And Gran Highlands as a total is about 110 acres. What you see here on the screen is about the first 10 to 15. So there is additional land below that will be developed in future phases. And can't tell you at this point if they're going to be single family homes or large estate homes, but we are keeping that land for future development. And like Mike mentioned a little bit earlier, we've been in business for about 25 years, built a handful of these communities before. So as we continue to see interest, we'll be able to expand and we have the ability to do so. So there's a lot going on here on the screen. So I'm going to walk you through it. So we're going to start out at number 1. So if you see my cursor, start out at number 1, this is going to be the entrance. When you jump up to number 4, this is the artisan market that Ali was talking about. So think about the local handicrafts and the people in the community who are making hammocks perhaps, or jewelry or some neat ceramic ware. You'd be able to get that here on site. Behind that, number 2 and 3 is where we have the orchards and the community gardens. So if you're somebody who likes to live off the land, or you are someone who believes in organic produce, and I don't blame you, but if you're that kind of person, then you'll be able to have that right here on site within walking distance. As we continue on, we will have condominium buildings. These buildings are not being offered yet at this point, but if you're somebody who prefers more of a condo sort of setting, do understand that we will have that there on the property as we continue. Now, something else that Ali mentioned, are these third spaces. And third spaces within a community like this are important. They're really quite critical, actually, because it's the area where people come together. And if you're considering a tiny home, having space outside of your home is important. And having that yoga palapa, for example, a place for you to unwind, or hiking trails around the property that maybe are paralleling the river, and you just have this really incredible view and scenery there. And you can see number 22, number 24, those are some hiking areas that will be there on site. And there actually are some already on site there. And then we already have an orange grove. Oranges are growing, producing. It's real. They're delicious here or there. Not this past January, but the January before, we're able to taste them, and they really are incredible. And then an area like a recreational area, for example, where you'll be able to jump in the water, jump in the lake, or perhaps you want to go swimming in the creek or the river, you'd be able to do that there. So you can see it's a very natural sort of environment here at the property. So here's just a quick overview. So do you understand this is a pre-construction property? We acquired the land last year, and when we acquired the land, there was already amenities, not necessarily amenities, but there was infrastructure on site. So the roads, the utilities, were all there. And so what we're in the process of doing now, and what we have done over the past year, is put together the site map, put together the experience. So when you're living here or spending time out here, or have renters come out here, there are things for them to do, places for them to enjoy within the property. So here where you see entrance, this is that number 1 that we mentioned when we were going through the site map earlier. And then if you look to your left, as if you're walking through the entrance, you have the Artisan Market, the Orchid, and the Groves. And this area is where the future condominiums will be. And then below this is where Freedom Village, which are the tiny homes, are going to be. And then below that, that's where the single family home lots are going to be located. So we're going to just jump right in and talk to you more about the tiny homes. Note that the neighborhood that the tiny homes community is located in is called Freedom Village. So Freedom Village is something that is very near and dear to our heart as developers. We are big believers in the tiny home movement. We understand there are a tremendous amount of people out there who want to reduce their carbon footprint, who want to live simply, who want to live more efficiently. And by owning a tiny home, or living in a tiny home, or having one that you can rent out to digital nomads, you're able to really live simply, like relax a little bit. You don't need all of this square footage. And I know we have a very diverse group of people on the line here. And something that I tend to see in Americans more so than other cultures is this incredible ability to just continue to accumulate stuff and more stuff, to the point where you need a storage unit or a second home or third home to be able to accommodate that. You know, there are a lot of people right now who are getting rid of that stuff, or maybe they're putting them in an extra storage unit and then coming down and spending time in the tropics. But when you are in a location such as the tropical highlands of Panama, you'll tend to find that a lot of your living occurs outdoors. Maybe you are spending time in that yoga palapa that we mentioned before, or birding, or hiking, or whitewater rafting. And because there are such great climates, you do tend to find that more people are living outside. And some of the unique features within the tiny home community is the fact that we have the ability to be off grid if you choose. Ali mentioned earlier this concept of freedom, and freedom of being away from bills. So you don't have the electricity bill, you don't have the water bill, you can have a home that is completely off grid. Now, if you're not too comfortable with being off the grid yet, maybe that's not something that you practiced before, that you're not necessarily ready for, you can have a hybrid system where you are connected to the grid, but also during the daytime be using solar panels and collecting energy that way. In addition to that, something that I'm really excited about is the fact that we're going to be integrating teak hardwoods into the tiny homes. And for those of you that have followed us for some time, and you do know we have those teak farms, it's going to be incredible to be able to take the teak from the east side of the country, bring it over to the west side of the country, integrate it into the houses. And teak, for those of you who aren't too familiar with it, is just a really incredibly beautiful hardwood. It's very durable. It has a lot of worth to it because it is such a durable hardwood. I have a whole presentation on teak. If you're interested on that, we can certainly send you that presentation. But just know that we will be integrating the tiny homes with teak features, which I think is just going to be absolutely stunning. In addition to that, you're able to have gardens. And we know that we have the community garden, but if you're someone who likes to garden in your own space, in your own area, you are able to put a garden there on your property. And we are able to integrate the gray water recycling so that nothing goes to waste. And then we talked about that organic food grown on site. I think that really is something that's important to note, especially as many of us are concerned about what we're eating and what goes into our bodies. So some of the tiny home features that will be integrated into the homes of Freedom Village are these green roofs. In addition to that, the gray water recycling, which we mentioned a little bit ago, which is where we'll be able to reuse the water from the sink and shower and be able to water gardens and keep the area green. And then the off-grid living. So if somebody does want their home to be totally off-grid, that is possible. If you want more of a hybrid system, that is possible too. But do note that you are able to use solar panels and bring in the energy from the sun there. So there are 3 different models to choose from in the tiny homes. And Beth, why don't you fill us in?
Yeah, so we have 3 really great models to offer: the Orchid, the Heliconia, and the Hibiscus. If you're not familiar with those names, they are flowers. Boquete is known as the flower growing region of Panama, so that's why we picked them. And now we'll go a little bit further in detail into those different floor plans. So the first floor plan is the Orchid. This one is definitely for somebody who wants a little bit of a smaller footprint. You've got about 360, a little less than 360 square feet of interior space, but 622 square feet of exterior space. And like Rachel was just saying, you know, when you're living in a place like the Highlands of Panama or anywhere really in the tropics, you're not spending the time inside. You're spending it outside on your patio, on your terrace. So, you know, you're going inside to sleep, to cook, to bathe. So really that having that really nice size outdoor space is really key here. Yeah,
I was gonna say the exterior space is definitely bigger than my condo here in Belize.
Right.
It's a really great space there.
Yeah, and so you see you'll have really fantastic views, very green, just that really getting back to nature. 119 plus furniture and closing costs, so a really affordable model for somebody who's a little bit more on a budget and looking for that smaller footprint. Next up is the Hibiscus, which is maybe one of my favorite models. A little bit more of interior space, 608 square feet. It is a true 1-bedroom, plus it has a loft. So you can put a twin size bed up there. So if you've got, you know, kids or a friend coming, you can, you know, probably accommodate, I'd say 3 people comfortably in there. And then 414 square feet of exterior space for a total of over 1,000 square feet, which is huge in a tiny home.
Yeah, that is. And I like the windows here, as you have the wraparound windows to make it just feel like you're one with nature.
Right, you can feel, and when you have to be inside, you can feel like you're outside, which is really nice. Again, low price, $149.9 plus closing and furniture, so still, you know, a lot less expensive than any home I've ever known in any city I've ever lived. And then the Heliconia model, which is definitely the biggest one by far, 619 square feet of interior space and 1,000 square feet of exterior space. 1,000. Wow.
That is 2 times the size of my condo.
So yeah, this one not only has that ground floor patio and you have the second floor terrace, green roof, loft. It's a really amazing design, and you know, you can see how we tried to make them as organic looking as possible. They fit in with nature. We didn't paint them bright pink. We're not in Belize. We're not in the Caribbean here. We wanted it to feel like you're in the Highlands. So we, like Rachel was talking about, the teak features, you'll see that incorporated on the exterior as well as some of the interior as well, to just really give it that organic, earthy feel, get back to nature, reconnect.
Yep, I love it. And very similar to the Hibiscus model that we looked at, you can see all the windows around. So you do have that, you know, it feels larger than it is, and you're able to have nature outside with you.
Exactly. So yeah, like great. I mean, just these I want to move into these renderings.
Me too. And so within the Freedom Village area, we have 24 home lots, and you can choose either between the Heliconia or the Hibiscus for lots number 1 through 16, and then 17 through 24 will be the Orchid model. And so just to recap, the Orchid model is the smaller model, 119,000 plus closing costs and furniture, and then the Heliconia and the Hibiscus model about 149.9 plus the closing costs and furniture. Now, I do want to note a couple of things here on the site map. I know sometimes with an artistic rendering, it's a little difficult to know what views are going to look like and to know what you can see and what you're not going to see. Note that numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, while a majority of these are sold here, do note that even number 1, they don't have necessarily a view of the river. They are on the bluff, they are on a hill, but there's a ton of greenery and lush jungle scape below. So what you'll be able to get is a feel like you're in a tree house in the setting, because you'll be able to walk off your porch or your terrace and see the greenery around you. Now at nighttime, I'm sure you'll be able to hear the howler monkeys and hear the river below you. but do note that you won't necessarily have that river view from number 1. So just wanted to make a mention of that. And then also 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. If you're someone who likes to have views of the mountains, then I would recommend any of those 5 home lots there. And just a reminder, you can do the Heliconia or the Hibiscus model in any of those. And then that would go to 16, and then 17 through 24 would be that Orchid model that we showed you first for 119.9. So it's been exciting to see. I think for those of you who are shareholders with us who are on the line, we do take shareholders in our parent company, Eci Development. They get first look at everything. So it looks like our shareholders are really excited to get in on the opportunity before we did the official launch today. If anybody's interested in what it means to be a shareholder in our company, just feel free to reach out, webinar@ecidevelopment.com. We can certainly get you those details. But for those, there are still many great options here. 1, and I would say maybe 2, between 2 and 10 there. Mountain views are really the $1 million view here in the area. So we mentioned furniture, and we also mentioned closing costs. I just want to mention that closing costs in Panama are 5% plus $600 for the attorney fee. So we can certainly get you those details if you want. There's a lot of information on the screen here. And so again, if you have a specific interest, let us know and we'll be able to get those to you. Now, something else I do want to mention is the return on investment chart. There's a lot of information going on here. And if anybody is interested in seeing this, let me know and I'd be able to send it over to you. But we just ran some numbers based on estimated occupancy. We have a conservative case. We have an industry standard case. So you have the industry standard case, which is an average daily rate of these homes being rented at $159 a night for 56% of the year. If you're financing 50%, then you're able to see your net projections here. Year 1 to be about 7.14% net after that mortgage is paid. The conservative case, we have about 179 nights rented out to less than 50% of the year, and an average daily rate of 135, and that gets you to about, after mortgage and month and expenses paid, 2.4%, which, I mean, to have a tropical home in paradise where you're able to still make some money from, have all your expenses paid, sounds pretty darn good to me. So if anybody is interested in seeing the specifics, let me know. We'll be able to get you those details. In addition to that, we do have some financing options, which we'll talk about in a moment here. So if anybody is wondering about financing, we'll go through those rates with you in just a couple of slides. Now, I understand that tiny homes are not for everybody. Maybe you're somebody who's living in a 5,000 square foot home, and for you to decrease your home size to about 1/10 may be a little daunting. I understand that, and perhaps you're maybe looking for more of a family estate, or you're looking for a place where you have 2, 3, 4 bedrooms, and you're able to bring the kids down, or the grandkids, or your favorite friends that can stay with you. So we do have home lots available. Now, as I mentioned a couple of slides ago, we at Eci Development, we have done a handful of developments throughout the region. We have some home plans if anybody needs a little bit of inspiration for how it is they want to build their home. But if you just want to start out with a blank slate for now, we do have incredible options, about 16 home lots at this point. Number 1 is going for $69.9. And something I do want to mention is also the HOA, just jot this down, HOA for home lots is $2.62 per square meter, which comes out to about 24 cents per square foot. So just bear that in mind. We're, again, able to get you all this information. This was more of a preliminary launch so that you can see what's available, but for specifics, we can certainly give you all of that information. But as we jump up to the left-hand side, you can see in that golden rectangle, that's the tiny home location. And then we're going to scroll down to that turquoise rectangle. That is where these home lots are located over there. Now, if you're somebody who wants more space, let's say you're looking for an acre plot of land, you are able to combine the lots here. So something for you to bear in mind too, if you do want something a little bit larger, we are able to combine the lots and give you the ability for that larger space. And as you can see on the left-hand side on that site map, you can see there's a lot of land that we have not touched yet. And that's what I was mentioning earlier, is we have the ability and flexibility to really create what it is the marketplace is looking for. And if there's something specific that you want that you're not seeing right now, let us know. And we'd be happy to talk with you and see how we can integrate you here into the neighborhood. There are tons of ways for you to be owners. I know, Allie, this was something that you really enjoy talking about. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I do. I do enjoy talking about this because now that you've seen what those homes might look like, you've imagined yourself in one of those homes. You've imagined possibly sitting outside on your deck there and just enjoying the sights and sounds of the Highlands of Panama. There are different ways to own that residence. As you can see here on the screen, we do have cash option with a payment schedule that's based on the construction progress. And then, of course, we have financing options there with the 50% down. You have a 4.9 interest rate, a 5-year balloon, a 30-year amortization, and then at 80% financing, you have a 6.9% interest, 5-year balloon, and also a 30-year amortization. But something really exciting, and you should be thinking about this as well, if you were savvy enough to get into the cryptocurrency space, possibly Bitcoin or one of the other popular cryptocurrencies, we do accept cryptocurrency as a form of payment. And we are one of the only, if not the only, real estate developer in the region that does accept cryptocurrency on your pathway to ownership. Our team has completed transactions in cryptocurrency. We have very knowledgeable people in this space, as well as gold and SDIRAs. So if you want more information about how any of those transactions would look or what the process looks like, feel free to reach out to us at webinar@ecidevelopment.com. And we understand that everybody is coming into this from different walks of life and different ways to be able to be a part of this community. So we want to be able to afford you those options as well.
Yep, and I just did a quick search here to see what Bitcoin is at right now. It's at about 59,000 US. And I have to say, I originally had my phone set in Belize dollars. So it said 1 Bitcoin equals, and in Belize dollars is 2 to 1, 2 Belize dollars to 1. So it's at 118,000 Belize dollars. And I thought it was US. I was just about to get really excited for everybody who had Bitcoin on the line, but it is still doing really well. At $59,000 for 1 Bitcoin and
2 Bitcoin for a house.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, Betsy. That's a great way to look at it, especially if you came into Bitcoin or crypto earlier on. And I do want to mention here that in addition to gold bullion, we do accept silver. We have had a couple transactions with precious metals before, so you can always ask us for the specifics. And then, as Ali mentioned, self-directed IRA. That's if you are a U.S. citizen. Unfortunately, Canadians cannot use their RRSPs, but Americans, you are able to use your self-directed IRA. So just something for you to consider. Just note that if you are using your self-directed IRA, you're not able to stay in it since it cannot be self-serving, but you can have it as an incredible investment. Now, something that we alluded to a little bit earlier in the presentation that Betsy mentioned is this concept of residency. And both Betsy and I have our residency in Belize. It is Panama. Thank you. Wherever in the world we are. So we have our residency in Panama. And although I'm not currently living in Panama, I visit quite a bit. And it's nice to know that it's in my back pocket as an option should I ever decide that I want to move to the country. So perhaps you're on this webinar, maybe you're not looking to relocate to Panama, but you are thinking about it from an investment perspective. Do note that you are able to obtain your residency through ownership of a home. If you're using your self-directed IRA, you cannot obtain residency. It does need to be in your personal name or held in the name of a Panamanian corporation. But just note that the Friendly Nations visa is one of the best residencies in the world right now. And I do say in the world because it's very easy to obtain and extremely easy to maintain. And it's typically the maintaining part that makes it difficult for people to get residency. Once you obtain the permanent status and you get permanent status right away, you only have to visit 1 day every 6 years to maintain it. I mean, the one country we were just looking at before, you had to go down every 6 months to renew your actual card. And so this is just super easy. It's 1 day every 6 years in order to maintain it. In addition, if you are looking to relocate to Panama, this will be your path to getting a work permit. It can also lead to citizenship should you choose. And then you can easily add dependents. And this is awesome. This is what I find really unique about the Panama residency is you can have dependents, your spouse, that's normal, up to 18 or 18 to 25 if they're enrolled in college, or you can add your parents. And I think that is just so awesome. I really haven't found many residencies where you're able to add your parents to it. But just as a quick note, residency is essentially a green card that gives you access to that country for however long you want to be there. And this is a critical thing to have as that plan B as a way to protect your most important asset, which is yourself. But do note it's not required. It's just a nice add-on should you choose down the line to obtain residency. So I do want to brag on the team a little bit. Here are some of our property consultants who you'll be dialoguing with should you decide to become an owner within the Gran Highlands and the Freedom Village tiny home community. And what I have to say is really impressive about these team members are they're people who have done what you're considering. They either own property in another country, they relocated themselves from their home country to another country, they have residency here, they have citizenship in another country. So there's a really diverse group who have gone through what you are looking to go through. And so they can talk to you from experience. They're able to tell you what their experience was like. How long does it take to get title in Panama? Do I get title in Panama? All of these questions that you may be thinking about that we're able to help you with. So just wanted to mention some of our team members, Megan, Andrea, Betsy, Gian, Joe, Katie, Leslie, Natalie, and Sarah. They will make sure that you have an extremely pleasant experience as you are owning property in Panama. Also, I recommend that if you are considering Panama, come and join us for an upcoming discovery tour, June 23rd to the 27th. It's going to be a really comprehensive trip. We're going to see the teak farms on the east side of the country. Then we're going to go to the west side of the country and see Boquete and the Gran Highlands. And it'll be a great way for you to also meet us in person. Like I said earlier, there are many names on here that are new, and I'm so happy to see that. And so you probably want to do your due diligence on us, which I completely understand. For those of you who haven't been to Panama yet, it's a great way for you to meet other like-minded people. And at the end of the day, that's really one of the core values of our company, ECI Development, is building communities in these new locations for like-minded individuals. And we do find that, you know, if nothing else, you know that if you move to Panama and your neighbor has moved to Panama, if nothing else, you know, the common thing that you have in common is that you both moved to Panama. And it's just a great stepping stone for conversations and to meet others. Now, and I don't know about you, but you know, I'm the black sheep of my family for sure. And when I told them I wanted to move from New York to Latin America, I mean, they just didn't get it. That they really, truly didn't get it. And so when I came down to Nicaragua, where I was at first, and you know, meeting other expats and meeting other people who did it, you just realize you instantly have this connection with the person because, like you, they have decided to make that plunge as well. So if you do want to join us, just email us there, webinar@ecidevelopment.com. I know we are recording the session, so it will probably be up on YouTube. If you're listening to this after this June date, still reach out to us. We have regular tours going to Panama. If you're not able to make this June date, let us know that too, and we'll let you know what the upcoming dates are for future trips. And then last but not least, I mentioned a little bit of time ago when we were talking about Boquete, the Panama handbook. And if you would like to get this comprehensive overview, it's complimentary. Email us, webinar@ecidevelopment.com. We'd love to send this over to you electronically. And then there's also the Panama 101 webinar recording that we talked about a little bit earlier. That's that hour-long presentation that covers everything you need to know about Panama. So it's a great way for you to just learn more about the country if you just haven't had the ability or the chance to go through what Panama is like. So what we're going to do right now is open the floor to questions. And then from there, if we don't get to all the questions, I do like to be respectful of everyone's time. I just have about 15 minutes, so we should be able to get through most of them. And if we're not, then just shoot us an email with your question that was not able to get answered, and we will make sure one of our property consultants is in touch. All right, first question here is from Chris, is what is the minimum down payment? So right now we are doing a $999 reservation deposit. That locks you into the lot and the model that you are interested in. And then we are looking to break ground in June. So about a month before in May, we'll send you the paperwork to review. At that point, you'll have to decide if you're going to pay cash, if you're going to finance 80%, or you're going to finance 50%. And so it just depends on what route you prefer to take. If you want to finance 80%, then you'll need to put 20% down. If you're financing 50%, 50% down. And then how we have the staged payments, I'm going to actually go back a couple of slides because it was right in here, and I want to make sure it's very clear. So we have that $999 refundable deposit, and then when we send you the paperwork in about May, you'll send 50% of the money less the deposit, that $999. 20% is due when the foundation is complete, 10% is due when the walls are up, 10% when the roof is on, and then the final 10% plus the closing when the home is complete. So June is when we're anticipating breaking ground, and it'll be about a 10 to 12 month build period. So think June of 2022 is when your home will be ready. Now you are able, as Ali mentioned, to finance 50% or 80%. Do note that we work with an international bank based here in Belize. So if you would like to learn more about them as an organization or what their requirements are, just reach out to us and we can certainly get you those details. All right, Chris is also saying, is the project open to having more than one buyer for a home if they want to split the time occupying the house? Absolutely, Chris. And that's something that we found actually at our Nicaragua property in Gran Pacifica. There's a house called Casa de los Cinco Amigos, House of Five Friends. And so 5 friends came together and they invested in the home, and then the families split the time that they have there. So yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea, especially if you want to get friends or family involved. Or perhaps you want to have your own home and they can be your neighbor. You can let them know about that too. But it's neat when you can build your own community, build your neighborhood, build your neighbors. It's neat to be able to do that. All right, so anonymous attendee, sorry, I don't know your name here, but he's asking, do you have rental units? The answer is yes, there will be rental units should the owners want to have it in the rental program. We, as in the development industry, we've been doing rentals since 1998. So we have experience in this. We really offer a turnkey solution for owners. We understand that most people, if they are planning to rent out their home, are not going to live there. So we're able to provide that turnkey solution. We have a team there on site taking care of everything, dealing with the rentals, dealing with the cleaning, the management, the upkeep, so that you don't have to. And then I see anonymous attendee, you're also asking about the exit strategy. If you're looking to sell at any point, we can certainly help you do so. The value of being within a community where we have amenities, where we have third spaces, increases the value of the home. Teak features, for example, I mean, that's something that you don't tend to find in a lot of homes unless they're very, very expensive. So being able to help you sell, should that be something that you're interested in, we can certainly do so. All right, I see we have Patty said, where in Belize are you guys? She was there for 3 years. Yes, we're at Ambergris Key, San Pedro. So we are on an island off the coast of the mainland. And then Patty's also asking about Costa Rica. So we, as a development company, we are land banking in Costa Rica right now, property in the Caribbean. It'll be about another 3 to 4 years before we develop Costa Rica. But if that is something, Patty, in the future that you'd be interested in, let us know and we'll get you those details. I see James there asking about tours. Yes, so come join us. I think it was the 23rd
to the 27th.
There you go. Come join us, James. I'd love to have you down there and catch up with you again. And then this question, I've been to San Blas Island. There is a fee to enter the area based on government ID. That is correct. It is considered a comarca, which is an indigenous community. So it really is maintained by the comarca. And so you're able to visit should you choose. But yes, there is a fee. Anonymous attendees asking, are there residents there? How many homes, houses? So this is pre-construction. Our official launch for construction or breaking ground will be in June of this year. So there aren't residents there currently. And so there are no homes or houses that are occupied because it is currently pre-construction. Someone was asking about the size of the home lots at the tiny home location. They're going to, on average, be about 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. So just something for you to bear in mind. Andy's asking about the Wi-Fi and internet connectivity. Yes, there will be a great Wi-Fi out there. We're working on those systems now, but something that we understand as developers, and one of the markets that we cater to with the tiny homes are digital nomads. And over the last year, a lot of us who were able to work or who are able to work remotely were. They'd open up their laptop. They weren't tethered to a specific location anymore. They didn't need to be sitting at a desk. As long as they had internet and Wi-Fi, they'd be able to get their job done. And so we're seeing that now in Belize. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of people who've come down as digital nomads. Same in Panama, same in Nicaragua, all the countries that we work in. We've seen this, I wouldn't even call it a trend, it's a reality. I mean, it's the new, everyone talks about the new normal, and this really is the new normal, is people being able to work from anywhere and work remotely. And so I think that this community will really cater well to that group. And we understand that you do need to have good internet in order to do so. Lainey is asking how much space between the homes. Lainey, let me look at the site map and we'll be able to give you more of a definitive answer. I don't want to quote you wrong here. Chris is asking about how do you feel a rental market would be to use this in an investment? That, Chris, great question. That goes back a little bit to what I was just saying as the digital nomads. I think that this is going to be a great area for people who maybe don't necessarily want to be in Boquete. Boquete is a little bit more expensive. And in addition to that, it's a little bit more developed in a sense. So I think the people who are going to be coming out to Gran Highlands are people who want a little bit more space, who are more of the adventurous travelers with the hiking and the creeks on site. and they just want to be away from people, but they also want to be close enough to the conveniences of a town like Boquete, or close to David, where they're able to hop on a plane and go to Costa Rica or go to Panama City. So I think it'll do well. I think from the long-term rental market too, it'll be pretty good. Mira's asking about the 5-year balloon. Okay, I'm going to go back to the financing for a moment here. So with the financing that we have with the bank, I'm going to even just take a step back and say, financing as a foreigner in this part of the world tends to be expensive. It's expensive money. I know if you're from the States or Canada, I think now I heard someone was telling me the other day they were able to get an interest rate of like 1.78% or something for a 30-year AM schedule. Totally forget that. Please understand that you're not going to get those sort of rates in the States. What we've been able to secure with the bank, though, that we're working with is rates between 4.9 and 6.9% interest, which is about half of what they usually charge. Usually it's anywhere between 10 to 14%. But the balloon, going back to your question there, Mira, is you have your monthly payments based on a 30-year amortization schedule. And that amortization schedule can actually be anything from 5 years to 30 years. So it depends on if you want smaller monthly amounts and then a higher balloon at the end, or a higher payment at the end of the 5th year, or if you're going for a lower amortization, maybe a 5-year amortization, you have higher monthly payments, but you don't have a big payment at the end. But what that means is, I'm going to use the example here, 30-year amortization, your payment would be stretched over a 30-year period, but then at year 5, you would need to pay the balance of that loan. So you need to pay about 25 years worth of payments. Now, I know that sounds a little daunting. You can always refi with the bank should you choose. I can't guarantee what the rates are going to be, but you do have that option. Something else that I found some of our other owners and our other developments have done is they're able to get a line of credit against their home in the States, or a second mortgage against their home in the States, or wherever their home country is, take that money and then put it towards their property overseas. So there are some alternatives, or cryptocurrency or gold or self-directed IRA. There are certainly options for you. Emily's saying, speaking about deposit and reservation, for how long can ECI keep the lot reservation? So that's a really great question, Emily. So how the process works is, now you can choose any of the lots. Come May, we'll be sending out paperwork for the properties. At that point, you'll have 7 days to go through the paperwork, decide if you want to move forward or not. If you don't want to move forward, then we'll send you back the deposit. There's a small service fee, but we'll send you back the deposit. So from now until about May is when we can hold it until we have the paperwork ready for you. And then after that point, when the paperwork is ready, you'll have 7 days to go through the paperwork and decide if you want to move forward or not. Nir's also asking about Canadians getting visas. Is it easy? Yes, it is quite easy. The Friendly Nations visa that we talked about before is definitely the way to go, and we can certainly answer for you what that looks like if you want more information. All right, I'm seeing, is this property in Dolega? Yes, it is in Dolega, so it's that town in between Boquete and David. All right, Paige, this is a really great question. You've mentioned getting around by air, but is there land transportation readily available, public transportation, bicycle trails to Boquete? What I would recommend is, if you're planning to live out there, you probably would want a car. Now, it's very similar to our Nicaragua property. You don't need a car, but it would make it easier. You can always befriend some of your neighbors, catch rides with them. There eventually will be a shuttle that goes back and forth to the different towns as the community gets bigger. But at this point, I would recommend either getting a car or renting a car if having transportation readily available is something that's important to you. Though, is the land fully titled or leasehold? It is fully titled, so you will get title to your property. And then what is the HOA cover? So that's a great question. HOA covers quite a bit. It's quite extensive. So typically it covers landscaping. We have common area coverage. So it covers the maintenance and the upkeep of the sidewalks, the pools, the third spaces. In addition to that, it covers security. We typically have security on site, just as a protocol for all of our properties. Gosh, there's a whole list. There are about 10 things. Paige, send us an email so we can get that information over to you, but it is quite comprehensive. Benoit is asking titled land. Yes, you will get title to the property. I'm seeing a lot of questions here. If we resell, yes, title. I see that a lot of people are asking about title to the property. You will get title to it. Which banks will take the mortgage? So at this point, Terry, the one bank that we work with is based in Belize. If you're able to find another bank that will supply the mortgage for you, you're certainly able to use them. You're not obligated to use our bank, but you can certainly ask around and see. Typically what you'll find though, especially like your home bank, they're not going to loan you, give you a mortgage for a property in Panama because they just don't have any jurisdictional right over it. So if you default, them getting that land back or that home back is virtually impossible. So KeyBank is one of the banks that, because we've been working with them a while, they know us, they know our properties. They've been willing to do the financing there. Todd is saying, will there be several teak farm tour dates? At this point, it's just going to be in June, and I can tell you what day exactly we're going to be going to the teak farm. Yes, exactly. So, wrong slide there. Let me go back one more, guys. So yeah, June 24th is when we're going out to the teak farm. So I know we do have some teak owners on the line here. If you just want to come to, or teak investors, if you want to come to the teak farm only, plan to be there June 24th. We'll leave from Panama City, return to Panama City in that same day. Great question here from Lena. She's saying, can I choose to bring my own furniture? The answer to that is yes, if you're not planning to put your home or your condo in the rental program. And so if it is going to be in the rental program, it does need to be standardized. If you're planning to live there, then you can furnish it however it is you choose. Leslie's asking about the financing. Is it based on U.S. credit? It's not based on U.S. credit, but they are going to require your income, your assets, your liabilities. They want to just make sure that you are able to pay the monthly amounts. And this is a great question, or as long as I have the deposit, I'm approved. So if you are essentially pre-approved as an owner, but if the bank finds any red flags and they have a reason to not approve you, then what we would just do is refund you your deposit because you weren't approved. So just bear that in mind. If for some reason, not when you get approved, but let's say for some reason you're not, then we are able to at least give you back your deposit. Concepcion is asking about the price and the size of the apartments. So we're still working on the condominiums. Concepcion, if you'd like us to keep you updated on the condominiums, let us know. But there'll be studios, most likely up to 4 bedrooms. We have a specific standard layout that we use across our communities, which it's a very efficient studios, and then it can go all the way up to 4 bedroom with the connecting doors. And so just let us know what size you'd like, if it's studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, and we'll be able to get you those details as it's ready. A great question here from anonymous attendee. Do any of you have skin in the game? Yes, our team definitely does have skin in the game. I mean, just generally around the organization, as we talked about being a multinational company, our employees some of them are shareholders in the company. Some of them have real estate, some of them have teak. So definitely have skin in the game. And something that is important for us as a developer is also retaining some of the developments that we're building. For example, our Marriott project in Belize, we as the developer are retaining 60% of the condos that are being developed out of the 200 condo Marriott development. So it'll be very similar. We've done that in our Galleon and Fleet buildings, where we've retained a few of the homes or condos in order to have inventory, put it in the rental market just like you all, and make money from it. So yeah, I understand that question. It's a really great question. And I appreciate you asking that. All right. So Gary's asking about the cost to build a single family home. It's about, I'd say $100, $110 a square foot to build a home. And that's more the nicer high-end finishes. But we can certainly talk, Gary, about your specifics. I mean, if you're looking for some real extravagant architecture and whatnot, it'll probably be a little bit more, but reach out to us and we can get that answered for you. Anonymous attendee is back and asking, what are the COVID restrictions to traveling to Panama? Excuse me a second.
I can answer that one.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. I'm talking so much here. Sorry, guys.
So to enter Panama, you do need to provide a negative COVID test that's a PCR test within 72 hours, correct?
Yeah,
72 or 48. Yeah.
Right. You can also take it at the airport too if you don't get the test done in
time. Just check with the airline though, because some of them do check when you're departing the US that you do have that negative test. So
that's a good point.
But yeah, it is possible to get into Panama. They're definitely loosening up on a lot of their COVID restrictions, which is great. So we're excited to see that get back on its feet.
Yeah, it's exciting. All right, so I see we're at the hour here, so I'm gonna just answer this one last question. I see we still have a lot of questions, over 50 questions here. So I apologize we haven't been able to get to everyone. We're just going in order that they're coming in, but send us an email, webinar@ecidevelopment.com. We'll get those questions answered for you. The last one here we're going to go through is from Patrick. When will there be an update about the condos? I'm going to say in the next couple of months, Patrick, stay tuned. It's, like I said, we already really have the layout and the floor plans. We just need the renderings and making sure that the building meets the same sort of looks as the other homes. But yeah, just reach out to us and we'll make sure we keep you posted. All right, everyone, Allie, Betsy, Mike, if you're still there, thank you all so much for joining us today. This was awesome. I'm personally super excited about this development. Panama is one of my favorite countries. It's a place that at some point I can see myself calling home. So hope to see you all there at some point. And if you're able to join us on the tour, please do. All right, everyone, have a great day.